The next thing I want to talk about, though, is your top 3 picks. What are your favorite 3 projects at the moment? And this isn't an investment advice thing. This is just saying from either a technology, a team, or just whatever they're doing, the right feel, the vibe, kind of what are your top 3 favorite projects?
Sure. So, I always invest on narratives and fundamentals that match, market structure. So if I think something's incredibly good technically, it might be a bad investment. So I'm talking here when I say these 3 I give like a pretty broad overview of, what these projects might do in the market in a speculative respect, and then also technologically. So, I mean, first is Aleph. I think that this is very bullish because they didn't do an ICO. They did an airdrop. Most of the airdrop whales have been squished out. We know that because we track in the wallets. It's done incredibly good gains already, but they have a lot of very smart people behind the team, including some of the people who built Nold's network, which is obviously a top 100 asset. It's also got an incredibly good community, and there's a lot of smart people behind it. I have tweeted about Aleph quite a lot, and I will be writing a piece on it this coming week. So I think Aleph's my favorite pick.
I'm doing a video on Aleph soon. So just in a short paragraph, just let everyone know what Alpha is about. What are they doing?
Sure. So it's a layer 2, which is peer-to-peer messaging for multiple blockchains. So it basically allows you to write to Ethereum, Bitcoin, Nols, Neo, and Binance very easily. So if you build an app on Aleph, you can therefore write to any chain very quickly. And it's built for DeFi apps particularly, but it also supports decentralized storage already. So the Aleph token is actually used to pay for things like fees and storage. So a lot of these big protocols are building decentralized storage solutions, but the Aleph beta is actually already live, which is really interesting, and you can actually test their decentralized storage solution already. So I think this is bullish because it has the network effects of all of the chains it supports, and it can write to new chains very easily. And the fact that it's a layer 2, I think now's the time to be making investments in layer 2 technology that doesn't rely on, for example, the ETH network being quick to deliver seamless experience.
Sweet. Number 2,
I think I went over this earlier, which is Orion protocol. Obviously, I'm advising the team. I really, really love what this stands for in regards to, eating the cake of the centralized exchanges, kind of, because it allows us to trade directly from our hardware wallet or from MetaMask web wallets. But, we can actually give some of them fees back to the centralized exchanges if they give us their liquidity. So this is something that's really interesting, as we've just banged on about DeFi for so long and the DEX space and stuff. So I'm really bullish on Orion. Obviously it's already hit the market now, so it's I don't want to suggest to anyone to buy anything, but
and it has had just so people are aware. I think it started at about 50 cents. It's now at $3, $2.50, something like that. So it's already done 5x out the gates.
And the private sale was 10 cents, and it ran to $3. So it's now. I love what Orion are building technology. I would just urge caution if entering into a token purchase. At least until the protocol's live, and them tokens they're going to be very useful. So I do encourage people to take a look at that. And then I suppose final project for me, I mean there's an honorable mention there, which is Plutus DeFi, because I've known Arnie for quite some time. And I'm obviously bullish on the DeFi space. The way that the token sale is structured is very interesting. There's a troll bridge fee. So if you're a seed investor and you sell within the first month, over half of your tokens will be burned. So that reduces the supply. But then on the other hand, there's also a bonding curve. So the private sale or the bonding curve sale price starts at 9 cents. It actually rises to 22 cents. And then it will list around 22 to 25. So these are really, really, big returns for early supporters. And we'll have to see how that bridge fee comes into action. And I think it'll be quite interesting. So that, I think, that would probably be number 3. I guess maybe if you want more would be Dia data or Dia data. Again, we've got that problem. And Dia data is pretty much is providing market data for the DeFi market for digital assets. So it's an oracle. It's an oracle play,
making sure that you have verified information from the existing financial network going into the blockchain. So that protocols can pull the data out of it. Yep.
It's super bullish given the success of Chainlink, Telor, Band, etc. So I think that therefore, I suppose I gave my honourable mention before my third. So, but yeah, there's so many projects I'm bullish on. It's just a timing thing. If you're here, a lot of people are here to make money. If you are, then that's fair enough. I have no qualm with that. But it will determine how I respond to the question based on what you want to achieve.
But I think the interesting thing from an investment standpoint at the moment with the way that the industry's set up is that, and we talked about it earlier, is that the initial investment that people are putting in is so low. Like, we saw $600 million ICOs in 2018. I think, what was it? Well, it's no longer the case, but Telegram was 1.4 billion. EOS was over $1 billion. These massive amounts of raise, and that means that you've got sort of $1.5 billion already at market cap at day dot that you then need to somehow grow. Whereas we're talking about projects right now that have market caps of Aleph is still sub 5 mil, I think. Meaning that people now, you don't need to be a VC or a private level investor. I mean, sure, you get the better rates, but you're investing in a project that's at a 5 mil market cap that could, I'm not saying any of those projects are going to go up this high, but I'm saying hypothetically, you still have the ability with a lot of these DeFi projects to invest in something that that may get significantly higher. Like you might start with a 5 million project that could get to $1 billion. I mean, Comp almost cracked I think it did crack $1 billion. So Comp, I mean, as a protocol, cracked a $1 billion market cap, and it's a DeFi protocol like something like Land. I mean, even Plutus is basically a privatized version of Comp and Lend. So I mean, like these really, what my point is that the individual investor, the public, actually have a much better chance to make profit this time, rather than getting dumped on by VCs that got in at 2 cents.
And exchanges. 100%. And there's a lot more incentives, and there's a lot more, I suppose there's more alignment between the team and the community than there has ever been, because, the team don't have hundreds of millions to dump on the users. But the community also control, in a lot of cases, the direction that the protocol can take.
Through the governance.
So, absolutely. So completely agree.
All right. So 2 last points over the next, say, 10, 15 minutes that we have left. Number 1 is you wanted to talk about the bonding curves and yield farming.
Yeah. So let's start with bonding curves. That's really interesting. I think, we've touched on it through the call, but a bonding curve sale is, for anyone who doesn't know, is a sale which will start at a certain price, and then every certain batches of tokens are sold, which can be determined by the team. The price will increase in increments. Now, the team can be as aggressive as they want. So I think UMA did the first sale, which was on Uniswap, and the price went tremendously high because of how they added the liquidity chunks. And then we saw DeFi Money Market, which was DMG, which I'm an early supporter of, and that again did a similar thing. It started a private sale at like 5 cents, and it ran all the way up to I think the public sale started at 56, and then it went to, I think, 64. So, you know, that's not that aggressive, but it still incentivizes early support, because by the time you reach 50 cents, the first buyer probably did a 10x, and he might actually look to, you know, to sell on in the secondary market. He's already supported the team, but it creates some, you know, some complications, because obviously if you've got very aggressive curve, people who get in early, they're going to try and dump. So Plutus is a risky one, in my opinion, because the seed round was 1 cent and it will list around 22 to 25 cents. So it's a 25x for the seed investors. Now there is a toll bridge fee. I don't know if it's troll. I prefer troll, but it will burn, as I said, half the tokens. So instead of a 25x, you'll get 12.5x. Like, oh no. So, you know, people are gonna still dump. So they're now creating incentives to stop the seed round dumping by giving them extra tokens. The private sale is 5 cents. So again, the listing price is nearly a 5x. But this is just a really smart model. And then Dear Data, the other one, or Dire Data, I really need to find that out. This is the most aggressive curve I've seen yet, because it starts at 5 cents and the price will go all the way to $7. Now, if it sells all the way to $7 and the sale sells out, the market cap will be probably in the top 15 or top 20. So it'll be, you know, absolutely huge. Like, you know, we're talking a billion market cap after the public sale, if they sell all the tokens. So this is interesting as well, because there's a massive incentive to get in early. And in a market like this, when everyone wants to speculate, loads of people are going to try and get in at the same time, and it's going to push the price up regardless. We've yet to see how high. So the bonding curve thing's really interesting, because it's kind of like it's a bit of a Ponzi style of raising. It's like, you know, the old private sale ways, you get 25% discount, but now it's just like everyone piles in and tries to get the best price possible, and it ends up selling out anyway. And then you have to work out what price you got after in some cases. So yeah, bonding curves are, I think, the new thing, the new craze that we're going to see more and more of, until someone gets really crazy and potentially, you know, upsets a lot of people. And yeah, we'll have to see how Plutus performs, because that's a really interesting one, because it's got this, you know, ecosystem where it will burn early sellers, but it will also really massively reward them. So there's going to be this game theory at work of, you know, who wins out there. So I'm looking forward. Plutus sale was supposed to be today. It would have been done and dusted by the time this video ships. So let's see.
It's Friday now. Yeah.
I think the Plutus token will ship, and it will reach at least 50 cents. That's my guess. At least 50 cents, which is, you know, a 10x for private.
That's pretty good. And what do you think about the last thing was yield farming?
Yeah, so I mean, again, we covered this briefly earlier, but I think there's like two groups of people who are yield farming. I can't remember if we talked about this, if it was before the video, but there seems to be two groups. Yeah, there are the people who are yield farming because they have loads and loads of stable coins or Ethereum, and they know how to, you know, game the system with leverage to earn maximum returns. And then there are people who are yield farming for token drops, for airdrops, like metastable, balancer, and maybe compound, but not so much now, more curve, ones that haven't yet come to market. So, you know, people were using balancer pool because they knew that balancer was going to drop a token, and they were speculating the value of the token would go up. So this saves them buying it when it comes on the market, because they've already farmed a bunch. So there's like, you know, there's two different pools, I think. You know, a lot of liquidity farmers using leverage and stuff, and they're earning a lot of money. And then some people are just, you know, actually like myself, I use metastable, I use curve, I use compound, but it was really to farm governance tokens, because I was banking on them doing well. So that, you know, I'm keeping my eye out for in governance incentive tokens like this, but also looking to buy them when they hit the market. because
But early participation is the time where you want to be involved, because usually with Compound, for example, it's a block by block, and
Yep.
it's shared amongst. So if you were getting into Compound when there was only, say, a couple of $1 million worth of liquidity, you could have absolutely killed it with the amount of tokens you would have been making every day, or every block. Sorry. Whereas now, I think because liquidity's gone up, comp's a bit harder. So a lot of these projects, getting in early and being an early believer, there is a real incentive to participate.
Oh, absolutely. And we spoke about this briefly, but that also has its, ups and downs, because some people are just buying these governance tokens because they want things to moon, and then others are buying them because they actually want to have a say in the protocol. And I see some really upset people who tried to take part in Metastable because they really like the protocol. They want to have a say, but all the whales have just bought up all the token all the way to $3, and now people who actually followed the protocol for the last year, they don't have a say, because all the whales have bought up all the supply, and they're just buying it to sell it on. So it's a natural progression, and it is in the right direction, but there's a lot of things that need to be figured out, especially when aligning incentives. Are you just rewarding? For example, one of the ETH Genesis wallets, one of the largest holders of ETH, didn't sell a single Ethereum all through 2017, all through 2018, and he moved all of his Ethereum to Curve to farm yield. So I mean,
you may as well.
You may as well, right? But then where's the incentive alignment for someone who doesn't have $250 million worth of ETH? It's getting that right. So that yield farm is interesting. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on, but be aware that most people are buying them governance tokens, so obviously to gamble on them, and I am too. Hands up.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. I'd probably say that no one's in this space. I mean, solely for the tech. You still got to eat. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being involved to make money and working out the best way to make money, especially in this space, as long as it is obviously ethical and legit, unlike another couple of projects that I've talked about in other videos. So how do you feel about, where do you feel that the next evolution of this space is going? So we've seen DeFi, with lending. So the current DeFi platforms are sort of replacing traditional lending. Then we've seen projects like Nexus Mutual sort of get people involved, like as in decentralized insurance. And then we've seen, projects like Flexar looking at how we can decentralize payments and sort of, unseat, Visa and MasterCard. So where do you see the next evolution, not only in DeFi, but maybe the crypto space as a whole?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the next natural step is to keep building. There's so many layer ones now, like layer one protocols, Algorand, Solana, Ethereum. They just go on, and I think the winners in the next couple of probably 6 to 12 months are going to be people who can automate processes like yield farming, provide analytics, but also people who can build cross-chain dApps. And just keep streamlining things. I think the wallet space, we talked about this last time with Zumo. The wallet space is absolutely ripe right now, because there's so much to kind of consolidate into a wallet that you couldn't do before, and you can now do with Argent. You can use Compound, you can use Aave, you can there's lots of DeFi tools in the wallet. Soon you'll be able to pay, you'll be able to sell and buy into Bitcoin and ETH, and then do as you please. You'll be able to automate strategies. So I think it's that consolidation point now where interoperability and layer 2s and even layer 3s, which kind of have a home for all of these things that have been built, all these protocols, so that we can use them easier. That's when we onboard the next 100 mil to 1 billion users, is when we've made it so easy to interact with the new financial stack that people just can't ignore it.
Okay, yeah, well, that's a good one, and perfect interruption.
Brilliant.
And that's the one that was just causing all that noise. Fucking little bitch. Anyway, okay, so I'll just have to close that. Okay, so that was a good way to close that off. But Thanks for your insights again, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to chat to you. And I think, I don't know, like I think there's a lot of value to be gained out of chatting with you, because you have, I guess, an insight that most people would not have. And even, you know, people that would consider themselves influencers or experts in the space would not have the degree of oversight, not only of projects at that base level, but, you know, understanding the founders, the business case, and then being able to sort of, you know, get across it like you would. And obviously with the network that you sort of are part of, obviously you get those inroads into a lot of places that most people wouldn't. So I really appreciate you sharing your time with me today, just to run over that.
Always have to come on.
And look, we'll probably have more chats coming up soon anyway, but I'll let you go because it is almost
time for the next one.
Time for the next one.
Man. Thanks for having me, Luke. And just let me know when you want me back on. I love to jam these ideas out. And
well, I mean, I think following the evolution of this space is going to be, you know, probably 6 months in the making. So I have no doubt more to catch up on next time. All right, dude, have a good one. Chat to you soon.
Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya.